What's up, y'all? What's up? Welcome to the Pugilistic Linguistic Show. I am your host, Michael Foster, the voice of reason in an increasingly unreasonable world, and I am back. Before I get started, like I say all the time, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you're notified when new episodes drop. Interact in the comments section. Let me know if I'm full of shit or not. Tell your people, hey, I like this guy. You should listen to him too. Or I hate this guy. Let's hate on him together. Either way, it's all good with me. So, today, I want to talk to you about, well, actually, I could consider this part two of my black music series, I guess. But I think this is more, I don't know. I don't think it was a series. But anyway, I want to talk today about rap music. Specifically, the role of female rappers in today's industry. I did make reference to them in my black music episode, but I feel so much more needed to be said on this topic specifically. Now, in full disclosure, I don't listen to any of this shit nowadays. That is what it is. It's shit. It is devoid of talent in many instances. It is. I'll never understand the role, the place of mumble rap. I don't understand for the life of me how a medium where speaking is your method of communication, how you mumble and are not understood when your only method of communication is talking. That just befuddles me. And then how the masses eat it up. Now, that's an indictment on the listening public. You know, I've always said if you demand better, you get better. But they don't demand better, today's listening public. So they don't get better. Again, I hate to do it this way, but back in my day, you had Rakim, who was lyrically complex. You had a Big Daddy Kane. Hell, you had an NWA who spoke about things that they were encountering, at least initially. Ice Cube and hell, Biggie and Pac, at least. You understood what they were saying, even if you didn't agree with it. So I don't understand. Today's rap is shit for the most part. It's garbage. But anyway, back to the topic at hand. Female rap. I don't get what this is all about. Because these female rappers of the day, of today, aren't talented. They just aren't. They it's prostitution music. It's music to shake your ass to. And don't get me wrong, ass shaking has its place. Yeah, I mean, I do know Poison Clan existed. I do know tag team existed. I do know Shake What Your Mama Gave. I get all that. And there's a place for it. But when that is the sum total of what you can do, when that is the sum total of who you are as an artist, there's a problem. And again, we weren't totally innocent. We had the Little Kims of the world, the Trinas of the world back when I was growing up, but they were the exception, not the rule. But these Megan Thee Stallions and first of all, Stallion's a male horse, but anyway, Megan Thee Stallion, the Cardi B's, the Nicki Minaj's, the Sexy Reds. Oh my God, she is awful. She is the worst. She is absolutely awful. And the thing is, I respect talent. I won't criticize you or condemn you for what you say, for the most part. But I will condemn you and criticize you for how you say it. If you're going to demean yourself on record, at least do it in a clever way. At least do it lyrically. Maybe that's a oxymoron for me. Maybe that's a severe contradiction on my end on what I expect from rappers. But if you're going to demean yourself, at least do it with some flair. But these female rappers of the day, and the kicker is that most of them don't even write their own lyrics. So this isn't even them saying this. This is what some man thinks they should be saying. So not only are you slutting yourself out, you're letting somebody else do the slutting. You're letting somebody else tell the world who you are. That's the even, and don't give me, and they make money doing it. And I guess at the end of the day, that's all that matters to them. Am I making some money? You know, if your integrity doesn't matter, if the art form that you claim to love doesn't matter, then okay, fine. I guess that's all that matters. Can I get a bag out of this? But Sexy Red is just the epitome of the worst of the worst. To a point that she has a makeup line whose shades and colors or whatever are named after STD discharges. And I'm not lying. Google that shit. I ain't making this up. How do you expect respect when you don't respect yourself? I don't want to see your lips down south on stage. I don't want to see your ass hanging out and you twerking, and I don't want to see that. And again, she don't make music for me, so it is what it is. She doesn't make music for me and my kind. And I fully understand that. But what she's doing, she's making music for a generation of young women who think this is their way out. Let me slut myself out and I can make a bag. And again, if that's your ultimate bottom line and you don't give a damn about anything else, respect, integrity, dignity, then fine, do you. But you can't be surprised when there's a certain segment of the population that revolts and rebels against that and will actively try to shut you down. Look, we got enough shit as a community. We have enough shit going on as black folk. Some fairly and some unfairly. We've got a really backwards mindset as far as quote unquote street codes and how, we got to live a certain way to be real and all that bullshit. We got enough going on as a black community to where we don't need our women denigrating themselves for a couple dollars. Making prostitution music, making strip club music that goes mainstream. See, the problem beyond all that is a lot of women in the industry, and I'm not going to speak to black women in general, a lot of women in the industry don't seem to respect themselves. See, again, back in my day, we had women who, on the microphone, who for the most part wrote their own lyrics and carried themselves with a certain dignity. I speak to Queen Latifah. She carried a royal air about herself. Listen to her music. She never sluttered herself out. She never had to. And she got the respect that she demanded. And she still sold records. MC Lyte. Yeah, she kind of got wrapped up in the 90s party music craze. But at her worst of dealing with Puffy and all them cats, at her worst, she didn't slut herself out. You didn't see her with her titties hanging out. You didn't see her with her ass hanging out. She carried herself with the dignity. She was a lyricist first. She rapped. She wrote her own lyrics. Dignity. I mean, Monie Love, the same. Women who knew what their purpose was. Young girls are looking up to them. Young girls are looking up to us. So we need to provide them something to look for, look up to. And beyond that, Bahamadia, a lyricist. She could rap. And ain't that the whole point? She may not have had wild mainstream success, but the point was she never compromised her art. And ain't that the whole point? See, when money entered the equation, people with low integrity decided to sell themselves to get a piece of that money. Now, I'm not going to shit on somebody for making that conscious decision necessarily. I mean, you do what you feel you need to do to succeed, I guess. But at the end of the day, it should be about the art form. It should be about the integrity. It should be about the dignity of keeping yourself covered. We ain't got to see it all. And I don't want to hear about your wet ass pussy. I just don't. And why do you think somebody else would want to? Go get that checked out. If it stays moist like that, you know, something might be wrong with it. Go get that checked out. But again, there was a dignity to our female rappers. And don't get me wrong, there weren't many of them when I was coming up. But there was a dignity to the ones that were there. Even Lil' Kim. No, she didn't write her own lyrics. Yeah, she was a walking visual STD. Not saying she had them. I'm saying the image she portrayed. Yeah. But again, she was the exception, not the rule. There's a time and a place for everything. Right, wrong, or indifferent. But there's a time and a place for everything. And Lil' Kim found her niche. I ain't gonna lie, I listened to a couple of her songs back in the 90s. I like Queen Bitch. It just did something for me. But when big business got into hip hop, I would say mid 90s, maybe towards the late 90s, somewhere in that area, when big business got into hip hop, hip hop's quality declined. When record labels, big record labels, got into hip hop, they started pushing an agenda to the masses. See, don't be fooled. The majority of hip hop is bought in the suburbs. It's bought by suburbanites, white kids from the suburbs. And they want to hear these tales of inner city struggle, inner city violence. It makes them feel like gangsters. And record labels know this. So that's what they push. They don't want to hear I Ain't No Joke. They don't want to hear Ain't No Half Steppin'. They don't want to hear A Message by Grandmaster Flash. They don't want to hear that. They want to hear I Shot Him in the Face. I sold $1 million worth of drugs in 2 days. They want to hear that shit. And record labels understand that. And that's what they push. They want to hear, I done slept with 20 dudes last week. They want to hear my ass is so big and look how round it is and fat. Look how big my titties are. That's what they want to hear. So that's what they push. There was a story, and I'm sure I'm going to butcher it, but I'm going to try to get it out as best I can. There was a story that there was a song called Self-Destruction. Came out, 94, 95, something like that. And it was a bunch of these East Coast rappers that got together and formed what they called the Stop the Violence movement. And he did a song called Self-Destruction. And basically it was a song about, look, if we continue down the path that we're going, we're headed for self-destruction. Violence and shootings and, not giving a damn about your brother, man, the whole 9 yards. Drugs, and it was all encompassing, but it had some of the prominent East Coast rappers of the day featured on that song. And from what I understand and what I remember of the story, and again, you can Google this, Google exists. Public Enemy, Chuck D from Public Enemy, and Public Enemy by extension, were forbidden by their record label, Def Jam, to participate on that song. Forbidden. They told them no. Now, let's just park here for a second. Again, there were a whole lot of other details that I don't remember anymore. I just remember that core issue. Again, Google the story if you want specifics. But this is what hit me strange. Why would you have a problem with your artist participating on a Stop the Violence song if you didn't have an ulterior motive to the violence being pushed? Why would you care Public Enemy wants to be on Stop the Violence if you weren't pushing violence? If you didn't think violence is good for business? And Public Enemy wasn't I don't want to say self-righteous, but they were a conscious rap group. They never did push violence necessarily. So I don't understand what their issue was. This is right along Public Enemy's track. This is what they do. Unless you have an agenda to push, record label. Now mind you, Public Enemy ended up being on the song anyway. Don't know what the repercussions of that was. But the bottom line is, there was an agenda to push. And you going against the grain is bad for business. Now, record labels these days, they may not push the violence as much, although they do love that Chicago drill music. And plus, record labels don't have the same type of power now as they did back in the 90s, you know, when there's so many other ways to market your music. But, you know, that drill music out of Chicago, that's murder music. Rapped by some real murderers in a lot of cases. That's being pushed. But the slut music, the prostitution music is really being pushed. The Sexy Reds, the Glorillas, the ones I said before, Megans and Cardi B's and Nicki Minaj. I don't even know if they're still popping, but they were for a while. Again, I don't follow this shit. But that whole show me your lips music, that's being pushed heavy. And there's a steady stream of them coming out the woodworks. You know, there aren't many, hell, there aren't any, as I'm thinking about it, conscious women rappers anymore. Not even conscious, just competent women rappers anymore. If there are some, let me know in the comments. Women with skill. Women with lyrics that spit bars. I don't think they exist. Because they're so busy showing you the asshole. But again, that's indicative of the state of the game these days. Talent doesn't matter any longer. Whether it's good music doesn't matter any longer. And the listening public doesn't demand better. They'll keep buying that show me your asshole music. So they keep making it. And it's sad because as somebody who grew up with hip hop, I've seen it go through all kinds of machinations. I've seen it go through all kinds of genres and what have you. And I don't recognize what it has become. And no, I don't think it necessarily is because of me getting old. I'm sure that might be a part of it. But Busta Rhymes was original. I couldn't wait till he came out with a new song because you knew he was gonna give it to you. Redman was original. Queen Latifah, UNITY, Lauryn Hill was a beast. She was the full package. And she didn't have to show her asshole to do it. But we don't have that. We don't have that. So I'll just spend my time listening to my archived and archaic music. And y'all can have fun with this bullshit. Because that's what it is. Hopefully one day, talent will matter again. Hopefully one day, women in the industry will have some dignity to themselves. Hopefully one day, hip hop will recover. But it's got to start with the person. You got to respect yourself more. You know, it's just ghetto for ghetto's sake. And that's sad. Because it was such a beautiful art form for a long time. But things change, I guess. And remember, just because it's changes, it does not mean it's evolving. Evolution implies getting better, building upon something existing and making it better. This is not evolution. This is just change. There's a difference. Maybe we'll get it one day. Maybe not. Who the hell knows? Well, I've talked myself into a depression. Just kidding. I'll let y'all go. I'll give your ear back to you. Until the next time we meet. And until we meet again, like I always say, take care of yourself and each other, because you all you got. Peace.